Bruce, confirming that you two are online.
Yes, I am.
Are you there, Bruce? Okay, well, at least with Shelley there. Shelley, you're online. We have Henry and myself are here, so that gives us a quorum. So we'll go ahead and call our Board of Directors meeting for April 28th, 2022. Starting here at 1:03. Formally roll call, we just did that. Anderson, Heimmuller, Shelley is online, and I believe Bruce is online. Well, he was logged in.
Yep.
Any public comments? Hearing none. We have board member appointment.
So at the conclusion of last month's meeting, the direction was for district staff to submit ads to multiple publications, which we did. It ran for 3 weeks. We have one applicant. It's Jeff Flatt. He resides within the zone, verified by his address. He submitted a letter which I distributed to the board members for consideration, and it's at your pleasure.
Mr. Chair, would you like to offer Mr. Flatt an opportunity to
To speak?
make a statement? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I was approached by Sean. I know Sean through, I served on the Rainier School Board for 4 years and was on there with Sean. And he believe I'm a volunteer for Columbia River Fire and Rescue, so he felt like that might be a good fit. And I'm retired and don't have a problem, volunteering, giving back to the community. Definitely have an interest in the EMS and the fire side as a volunteer. So we look forward to the opportunity to serve in that position.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And if I recall correctly, when we researched it, this any appointments temporary until the next election cycle,
That
correct?
is correct. He would be filling out the remainder of Sean's term and then be available to run via election of the public.
Mr. Chair, I move that we appoint Jeff Flatt to fill out the remainder of Sean's term.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to appoint Jeff Flatt to fill the remainder of the vacancy from Sean Clark. It's the resignation. All those in favor say aye.
Point
Oh,
of order.
discussion.
Aye.
Henry, did you have
No, I have
sorry.
no discussion. I just want to make sure that we allowed the opportunity to anyone who might.
Thank you.
And if there's not, I'm an aye.
All right. So I heard both Bruce and Shelley were an aye online. Henry's an aye. I'll vote in and say aye. Unanimous. Jeff, congratulations. Would you like to come up here for your oath of office?
You'll join me, Jeff?
That was
That was
fast.
quick,
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Jeff, I need to swear at you here a little bit.
Yes.
Come on up here.
Yes.
So, I'm going to have you raise your hand there and state your name.
I, Jeff Flatt,
Being first duly sworn
being first duly sworn,
and say
and say,
that I solemnly swear that I will support
I solemnly swear I will support
the Constitution of the United States of America
the Constitution of the United States of America
and the Constitution of the State of Oregon
and the Constitution of the State of Oregon
and the laws thereof, and will faithfully
and the laws thereof, and will faithfully
and honorably demean myself in the office of Director
and honorably demean myself in the office of Director
of Columbia 911 Communications District,
of Columbia 911 Communications District,
to which I have been elected to the best of my ability, so help me God.
to
to which I've been elected to the best of my ability, so help me God.
Welcome aboard. Thank you, boss.
Yeah, thank you.
And Jeff, at the conclusion of today's meeting, we'll have a document for you to sign, and then we'll get it notarized. Thank you.
Yes. For the record, Mary Jo was asking if we can just have the members of the public maybe introduce themselves so we can have it documented.
I'm Alex Rands. I'm the city manager in Scappoose.
Thank you.
Everybody knows me, of course. Patty Miller, City Councilor for City of Scappoose.
Hi, my name's Terry Cree-Gravesby, and I'm president of the Oregon Association of Conservation Districts.
Thank you.
My name's Annie. I'm just a concerned citizen working on a project.
Okay.
Very good.
Well, thank you. We good?
Yeah, thanks.
All right. Any additions to the agenda?
No, sir.
Hearing none, we'll move on. Approval of the March 31st regular meeting minutes. No, sorry, I crossed that out. I need board member appointments. We'll back up to my mistake. Look at, since our president did resign, we are looking to do our board officer elections.
Mr. Chair, I move that we, where I'm going to nominate, I guess, Rob Anderson for chair.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded to nominate Rob Anderson. Are there any other nominations? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? All right.
Mine too, sorry.
How about nominations for vice president?
Mr. Chair, you might be able to speed this up a little bit. If I nominated, let's see, well, Mr. Holsey's been around for a while. He ought to probably be about due to be vice chair, and Ms. Hennessy as secretary, and Mr. Flatt as treasurer, and I'll be member.
All right. There's been a motion to do a slate for Holsey for vice president. I believe that was
Hennessy secretary,
Hennessy
Flatt
secretary.
treasurer.
and Flatt for treasurer. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any other nominations? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Unanimous. Congratulations. Now moving on to the approval of the March 31st meeting minutes.
Mr. Chair, I move we approve those minutes as presented.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Shelley seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, financial reports. Starting with the budget variance.
How we doing?
Looking good.
Yeah, about good.
Entertain a motion for approval.
Mr. Chair, move approval of the budget variance report as presented.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Just make sure you have copies of
All right,
that stuff.
we'll give that one to, yeah.
Okay.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the budget variance report as presented. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Expenditures.
Let's just give Mr. Flatt a minute to take a look through this stuff.
No problem.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the expenditures from check number 30727 through check number 30777, including the electronic payments in the amount of $287,086.94 as presented.
Is there a second?
No, I'll second.
All right. Any discussion? You ever think, Jeff, think it's your first time to cruise through it?
Yeah, I think I'm good.
Okay. Perfect. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And I'm sorry, I think it may have spoken over. Was that Shelley and Bruce?
That's an aye for me.
Yes, an aye for me, too.
I'll pause better for Mary Jo next time. Budget committee appointments for zones 1, 2, and 5. Would you like to take it away up there, Mike?
So there is a slight change. At the last meeting, Sean Clark offered his support to act as the budget committee member for his zone. We ran that by legal and surprise, but apparently that is not allowed. So there has to be a separation of a board member for a 2-year period before they could serve back as a citizen on any committee or work group surrounding fiscal actions of the district. So Sean has been disqualified for that. He's been notified and understands. We have a zone. I can't even can't read the map. So for the Clatskanie area, D. Woolley has been nominated, thank you, to serve on the budget committee. And then for the Scappoose region zone is Mike Greisen. And both those folks have accepted and are willing to serve. And it's the board pleasure to move.
Did we still have to vote on Steve Reed from St. Helens?
No, we did that.
Did we vote on that last time? I knew we would. So then we'll still have a vacancy in the Rainier until,
We will.
Until Jeff
Jeff, can you
snipes
find
somebody.
someone?
Yes. All right. Well, Mr. Chair, I move that we approve D. Woolley for the Clatskanie area and Mike Greisen for the Scappoose area to serve on our budget committee.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
I'll second it.
All right. So it's been moved to appoint D. Woolley to represent Clatskanie Zone and Mike Greisen for Scappoose. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 I'll vote aye also on that one. Opposed? None. The 2021 audit report.
Nancy, do you want to say anything
The
about?
audit report is included in your packet. We were giving an unmodified opinion of our financial statements, which basically means it was a clean audit. And I just want to make sure that you're paying attention to the communications of the governing board that is also sent out. And it's just makes you aware of some statements, government accounting standards that are coming up that we're going to have to apply to.
Thank you. Entertain a motion for approval.
Chair, I move approval of the audit report as presented by Polly Rogers.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded to approve the 2020 through 2021 audit report from Polly Rogers as presented. There's no other discussion. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Passes. Operations manager report.
So we haven't had any changes in our operations staffing since my last report. We've got 2 lead dispatchers, 9 full-time communication specialists with 1 in training. She's actually finishing up at the academy. She's passed her test and will be returning to us this coming week. We also have 2 part-time. Hiring update. The last time we had a board meeting was the last day we were accepting applications for this hiring round. We got 2 more before midnight that same day, so we had a total of 12. There's been some movement since I typed up this report, so we've actually have 3 completely through the testing phase. 1 is past the interview and is in backgrounds, and 1 I'm waiting to finish up on tests. We're going through a transition for our public records requests from Kirby Foch, who's a communication specialist here as part-time. She's training Jesse Brody, who's going to start taking those over for us. Inquiries, we have 1 internal that is pending. We did finish up 911 telecommunications week, and the staff seemed overall very pleased with what they experienced, and they were grateful for the recognition from the board through cards and gifts. Spring training for April, we're halfway through our staff training. Our 2nd session to complete it is tomorrow. It's going well. It's Alex Edinger's first round, and he's doing really well. Some discussion last time at the board meeting that we've actually followed up with our staff. There is interest in summer barbecue planning, so there'll be more information to come on that. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Technical manager report.
I've been working with St. Cloud's Police, Columbia County Sheriff's Office, and Scappoose Police, and exploring RMS vendors as they move away from region. Met with Verizon and FirstNet to discuss how we could better improve the coverage in Columbia County so that we can give our fire and police users better experience out in the field with their MDCs. CAD, we're migrating over to our new servers, and it should be very limited downtime, almost 0. Network, we're experiencing some issues with Comcast, but CAD has had no outages due to the SD-WAN solution just failing over seamlessly.
If I recall right, that is something that you just recently finished establishing for the failover, correct?
Yeah, so we've had it for a couple months now, and it's been going through a lot of tweaks and changes to make it work perfectly, but got to the point where I didn't even notice right away that we lost our Comcast temporarily.
Nice. Worked like it was supposed to. Anyone have any questions for Nathan? Hopefully good news from AT&T or Verizon, or?
Yeah, they have, AT&T had a high-powered antenna for the Cradlepoint devices and Sierra Wireless devices, so hopefully users in the field could get a little bit further out into the boonies without losing coverage. I learned that Verizon has their own cell on wheels for big events, so you don't have to be a customer to get that, and they also have health reports of all their towers that you can purchase access for relatively cheaply.
I will add to that, in that meeting, we impressed upon Verizon that while we are customers of FirstNet, we're not exclusive to FirstNet, in that we are actively seeking any wireless carrier who would like to co-locate with us on any of our sites to help improve wireless connection for our public safety folks that are out mobile. I think they heard us. They were very receptive to that. We'll see where it goes. I can hold my breath, but we just keep making the pitch that we want to partner with you on our sites. So
we tried that during the first net rollout. Hopefully round 2, they'll have to show some interest.
Yep.
There's nothing else for the technical manager.
Nope.
We'll move on to old business.
Okay.
Radio system.
Yeah. Walking down the list here on your agenda, so there's nothing on Dixie. Clatskanie, there's a couple things. So in your packet, I've included University of Oregon did complete their construction and installation of their seismometer, and it's up and running, and it was just kind of fun to include the packet. They gave us a snapshot of what that site is recording, and literally as soon as it came online, it was recording earth movement literally around the world, and so it was a little screenshot of what that workstation is doing up there. So it's kind of fun. So that's done. Working with M&I on the microwave shot between Clatskanie and Columbia Heights. My last report to you, we're doing pathway studies, and those are complete. We're waiting on the shipment of the antennas and the waveguide. I had a conversation with them yesterday confirming addresses for the destination, so that is in progress. Corey Hill, we did have some storm damage from the most recent, some trees down, and Nathan is taking care of that and working with the city of Vernonia to clean up some stuff up there. Otherwise, that's going well up there. The Meisner site, so quite a bit of work on that. So let me get a document here. So that RFP was published last week. We did the pre-bid walkthrough of any interested contractors. There were 4 that were present and did the walkthrough. They were Day Wireless, Summit Solutions, HPS, and T3. I'm working with the engineering firm. Our construction manager and myself were answering vendor questions and providing them answers. We opened the bids May 24th here, so that's moving along well. Emergency microwave repair and replacement. So this is kind of tied to what I just was talking about, the shot from Clatskanie to Columbia Heights. I had a telephone meeting this morning with M&I because we're looking at moving forward with an upgrade shot between here dispatch and Green Mountain. Of course, the Meisner site to Clatskanie, and we're working a quote up between Clatskanie and Corey Hill. I have some preliminary numbers this morning, but we're tweaking a few things, so I don't have anything to present yet, but next month I will. But I'm pleasantly surprised, and Nancy will be pleasantly surprised, that my budgetary number, a little high, that's okay. I'd rather shoot high and come in low, so right now it's looking better than I expected, so excited about that. I'll keep you posted on that stuff. Nothing new on tow service contracts. ASA. So the county has hired a consultant, Fitch and Associates, to assist the county in their assessment of the existing ASA and upgrading the ASA contract and the franchises with all the providers. And yesterday I was interviewed by the consultant. I was impressed. So commend what the county's doing, and I think we're committed to help as much as we can with that. GIS support agreement. So last month, Ian Crawford provided a presentation to the board At that time, you had a draft agreement in in your packet. Last week, we got that finalized. There's no changes to the document at all. It is as it was presented last month. And so at this time, I'm interested in having the board approve our signature for this agreement, of course, with your pleasure. So I can hold it at that point, Mr. President, or would you like me to continue on?
Oh, well, we can stay on topic
Okay.
with the agreement.
Mm-hmm.
So, do we need an approval on that, or?
Just your authorization for it. So there's zero fiscal impact to the district. And just getting your approval for me to sign off on the agreement between Columbia 911. Technically, it's WACA as the contract holder for Magix. And we would be signing over our quarterly GIS reimbursements from OEM to WACA for hours spent, time and materials.
As we discussed last month.
Correct.
So I guess we can entertain a motion for sakes of discussion.
Absolutely, let's actually so move.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. We'll continue with discussion.
And I would just, Jeff, I think you were here during the last month's meeting, but don't know if you were here during that piece of the discussion. If not, I just want to make sure that.
And if I want to approve through the document, it looks like there's going to be a lot of cleanup. That it's going to help with some of the
cleanup.
CAD cross streets and some
Correct.
other overlays.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like we'll definitely get a benefit of some of their
Some
expertise.
QA, yeah.
Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the Columbia 911 GIS support agreement as presented, say aye.
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 Opposed? Passes. Next is the authorized purchase limit adjustment.
And I'm going to, if it's okay with you, I'm going to go back up to next gen radio system improvements.
Yep.
So continuing on that topic, there's been no further movement on a decision moving forward. But during last month's meeting, there were conversations about, again, how do we ensure that the current system is somewhat stable and what steps we might take moving forward to keep it running until a decision is made. So I walked through the recommendations by both Day Wireless and Motorola, which we've touched on, the microwave. We're still gathering quotes for console replacement options. There was a suggestion recommendation, two things that we're moving forward on, which is seeking a true RFI, that's radio frequency interference study for each site, including receive sites. That is in progress. What we're waiting for is the actual equipment from Motorola, so I'm waiting for that follow through with them on time and cost to do that. Also, we've made a request of Day Wireless on their monthly PMs that they do at our sites to actually do a meter reading of each of the transmitters and receivers, as well as the antennas. So that's being added to our monthly PM. So as those take place, I will try and gather some cohesive reporting mechanism for you to see as we move forward on that. Any questions so far? Okay. Moving on, the last thing on that list here for old business is authorized purchase limit adjustment. We presented this last month at your meeting. There was good conversation amongst the board members present. It appeared to be the 3 board members here were in support of it, but they did table it, seeking input from a more inclusive entire board. So Shelley and Bruce, and now Jeff. So again, revisiting, the state authorizes a purchasing limit on agencies of up to $100,000. In my unscientific query of my peers around the state, I don't know if anybody, I haven't discovered anybody who has the full authority of the $100,000. Portland is the closest. The other next closest is Washington County at $75,000. I'm not asking for any of those. But I am asking for an adjustment because the limit that I currently have is $5,000, which in today's business environment doesn't get you a lot. And so our struggle has been day-to-day operations, mostly surrounding technical support, because our stuff is expensive. And so what we've been having to do is make incremental purchases to stay under that threshold, which extends our window of replacement equipment. So we're having to do it month over month, and then getting the bill, paying the bill, having it posted. It's just extending months at a time to conduct business. So I'm seeking a request of an authorization of $20,000 under my signature. But I do want to pause right there because I had during that meeting last month, Rob asked a good question. And I want to just have a little conversation, make sure that I'm hearing you, we're on the same page. Your question was, are we still being held to the 3-quote process that we've historically done? And I said yes, but then I had thoughts about it afterwards, thinking, it's your pleasure what you would like. If you're authorizing a higher spending limit under my signature, we could do one of two things. Is it your intent for the purchase threshold at $20,000 and anything above and beyond that would be a 3-quote? Or do you want to leave the 3-quote at the $5,000 threshold, but we would just manage that internally, and anything, and we would work appropriately based on the 3 quotes at that threshold? It's really what you folks want me to do or us to do. So.
Well, I do believe some of the stuff we still will have to go for the 3 quotes. It's just a matter of whether the board would be the one that processes them, or if you accept the quotes, see what they are, and move forward appropriately.
Thing is if we're increasing your spending authority to $20,000, if you're going to have to get 3 quotes and go through a process at the $5,000 level, you might just as well wait and come back to the next board meeting by the time you do all of that, because you're not authorized to spend, and do that. So I mean, it kind of almost seems like the boat needs to float equally. If we're going to have it one be, it needs to be the other. How long have I been here, Nancy? Almost 30 years, if not 30 years. And in that period of time, our director had a $2,500 spending limit when I first came on, and then we raised it to $5,000, and it's been $5,000 ever since.
Sally went to $7,500 right at the
Oh,
very
did she?
end
Oh,
of her
she.
career.
Oh, okay. So we've been kind of still in that range, but yeah, I mean, when we look at these fence, we get an emergency, tree comes down across Quarry Hills fence again. We saw, just a fence replacement at $26,000. Those kinds of things. Nothing's cheap. I mean, it's not like you're going to go out with $20,000 and buy a new fleet of cars or anything, because you can't do that either. So,
Correct.
I don't know. I think it's a reasonable request. I think that you've been good at communicating when these purchases, even small purchases, are made. I feel like you've been very transparent in bringing those to the board so that we know where those dollars are being spent. I mean, and of course we rely heavily on Nancy for, being the dollars and cents watchdog here, and that's all good. You know, I mean, we have good checks and balances. So personally, I don't have any concern with, you know, floating the whole thing to $20,000. I mean, there's going to be times that you know, you have to make a quick decision, and as we've seen many times in this industry, there's not always 3 vendors that you can get at easily in a timely manner to get that. So I think that, you know, you're still going to have to justify anything that's questionable back to us, and so that's just my thoughts.
Shelley and Bruce. Any thoughts, comments? Jeff?
No, if you're looking at Henry, I kind of agree with him. If we're going to increase it, then you might as well, you know, handle the quotes and stuff himself and just brief us on it. Otherwise, we're just kind of wasting time.
Yeah, but historically, usually at least, that the quotes have crossed our desk in the packet, so at least we get a chance to see, you know, what comes in and make sure that we're moving in the direction that we'd like to.
Well, and oftentimes the quotes that are approved are not the low quote. I mean, and most of the time that's very well spelled out for good reason. So I don't anticipate any of that's going to change.
Is there any other discussion? So no, you said 20,000. I believe that was in line from last time. I don't recall, was that figure stated in the motion?
Motion hasn't been made.
Then I'll entertain one.
Mr. Chair, I move that we increase the director's spending authority to $20,000.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right. It's been moved and seconded to approve the executive director's spending limit to $20,000. All those in favor say aye.
Point of order.
Yes.
Further discussion.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed?
Thank you. New business, Special District Association of Oregon Board Leadership Academy. Nancy?
There is a application in your board packets for our liability insurance. We have to pass best practices and we get credits for our insurance. So this year they are asking for 2 of our board members to enroll in this academy and participate in the education portion of it. So I just need to get 2 of you to enroll for us.
When is the academy?
It's like a online thing that you just continuous.
You had a chance to see, is this kind of in line with new board member training?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I think I would.
Okay.
Sounds like Jeff is interested.
If this is online, I can do this.
Okay, thanks, Shelley.
And Shelley? And if I recall right, I saw it said you sign up for it, we instantly get the credit. Doesn't have to be completed.
Correct.
And they have 3 years to complete the course.
Correct.
Excellent.
All right, director's updates.
I have nothing further.
All right. Then per the agenda, we are going to go into executive session here at 1:41 under ORS 192.660, subsection 2, subsection D for labor negotiations. And that will be followed by a session under ORS 192.660, section 2, subsection H, legal counsel. So we can take a small break and we'll start the executive session at 13:45. All right, you ready? All right, back into normal session here at 2:17. Back to the agenda brings us looking at the tentative date for our next meeting. which will be the May 26th, and if it works for the Budget Committee, hopefully on the same date.
Mr. Chair, I won't be able to attend that day.
All right. Anyone else have input on the 26th? Now, my thought is, we know the 26th is off. Do we want to leave it open for right now to see it, the rest of the Budget Committee, to see what date works for them?
But that doesn't matter for them. The second budget committee meeting wouldn't matter. The hearing is just for us to take public comment on it. It just needs to be the board members.
So if
But we need to have a quorum.
quorum, correct. So right now, it's just Henry that'd be absent on the 26th, but Jeff, you'd be here?
Yes.
Rob,
Yes.
Bruce, and Shelley? Is there a conflict with May 26th?
Would that, yeah, that was my question.
I didn't get that.
I'm sorry, Shelley, can you repeat that?
What time is that gonna be?
Be the 9 a.m.
It should be okay.
Sorry.
Okay, Shelley said it'd be, if I heard you right, you said that would be okay for you, Shelley.
Yeah.
And Bruce?
I will be absent that day. I have an appointment at 9 a.m. But it sounds like you got a quorum though.
We would.
Everyone has to show up.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, but don't hear any alternate dates being presented. Henry, are you good with,
He can't be there.
Yeah, I'm good with you guys doing it, sure. I mean, I don't have to be here.
all right. So it sounds like we'll do May 28th at 9 a.m. for the budget hearing.
26.
26th, thank you. Any other business? Hearing none, member comments. Bruce, we'll start with you. Anything?
I just wanted to thank, I just wanted to thank Mary Jo. I didn't get a thank you when you dropped all that stuff off, and you're always kind of seem to have my back, so I appreciate that. And thanks very much. And nothing else.
No problem.
Shelley.
Nope, I don't have anything more to add.
Welcome aboard, Jeff. Anything?
Just excited to be here, looking forward to it. Welcome to the opportunity.
Thank you.
Welcome, Jeff. Thanks for stepping up to serve. Appreciate that. Looking forward to getting our budget document like we always do. It always ends up being the best looking one in the county, even counting the county as far as I'm concerned from a readability standpoint. But
You'll really like the cover of this one then.
All
This
right.
is the best.
okay, cool. And thanks, Alex, Tyler, you guys, and et al. For coming and listening in.
Okay. And so we have our budget meetings starting at 3 p.m., so this gives staff a little bit of a break to get some last minute stuff dialed in. Again, thanks. It's nice to have everyone in attendance for the meeting today. And it sounds like, unfortunately, Jeff, you've already had an assignment of trying to find someone for the budget committee. All right. Well, there's no other comments. We will go ahead and adjourn here at 2:21.
Record.
I was assuming that's the direction it was
We have a
going.
quorum. Let's see.